Hello, everybody, and welcome to your weekly astrological weather. This is your place to get practical guidance for not only navigating with, but thriving with the cosmic tides. My name is Amanda Walsh. I'm the founder of Astrology Hub. I'm so happy to be here with you and thrilled to be here, as always, with your favorite weather woman, predictive astrologer, Anne Ortelee. Before we dive in, Anne's in Florida. Before we dive in, I wanted to read a quote or a testimonial that we had come in, and we have tons of these come in every week, but this one's from Angie, and it's about astrology in your pocket. And this is what Angie says. I got to tell you, Anne's astrology in your pocket is so incredibly helpful. I have nights where I can't sleep and wonder if it's just me or if it's something with the planets. She always confirms my suspicions. It's on point every time. The daily forecasts are so helpful, and my friends keep asking me about the astrological forecast, even though they don't think astrology is real. Thank you, Anne and Amanda and Angie. Thank you for sending that in. For those of you who have not yet tried out astrology in your pocket, you can now. You can go to astrologyhub.com/pocket if you're in the United States or Canada, and you would like to receive them via text. If you are international, meaning if you are not in the United States or Canada, you can get astrology in your pocket via email. For that, you go to astrologyhub.com/pocket email. It is becoming like this companion that I know so many people are benefiting from, including myself. There will be those days, Anne, where it's like, oh my God, what is going on? And then even retroactively listening, it's like, oh, okay, all right. I'm not going crazy. It's all right. This is part of it. And it just is. And then you always have so much amazing guidance and insights and advice that you share as well. So thank you for that, Anne. And I know that we have a huge week. I feel like I've been saying that for like a year, at least, more than a year. I know we have a few like dips in the energy, but tell us about this week. What are we looking at in terms of intensity? What's the theme? What are the major things happening?
It's a really big week on multiple levels, because we're finishing up eclipse season, meaning that we have left it behind. Technically, we leave it behind on the full moon, but because Mercury was part of the eclipse, we know that he is still has to go forward and clear his shadow, which he doesn't do until the 7th of July. So while technically eclipse season is really over, we're still in it, right, on some level. And Mercury, he had his 3 passes, 1, 2, 3. So he's got his 3rd one until the 7th when he leaves his shadow. So more secrets to be revealed, more things to be told, more stories, the 3rd chapter, the conclusion, how you're supposed to think about it. Very active this week. And then the other thing we had in the middle of eclipse season was we had the Saturn-Uranus square part 2 of 3. And that is asking us to look at our structures, our realities, the life we've built, the structures that sustain and support us, and look at them and see where their foundation is stable or not, where they literally can collapse like that building in Miami did. Where we are looking at structural changes to decide what we want to do and how we want to modify going forward. So that square happened on the 14th. We had one in February on the 17th. We have another one December 24th. But this week, Mars, our good friend of Action Jackson, Get It Done, is coming in to set off that square that is in the sky, going to form what's called a T-square. And T-squares are very volatile, action-oriented energies. It's shooting into the Scorpio house. The empty leg is the Scorpio house. So that's often financial. It's sometimes death. Obviously, we'll be finding bodies in Miami for a while. It is transformation. It's psychological awareness about stuff. And part of the energy of things coming to light or finding things out is we have that aha moment where we figure out stuff. So as Mars pulls in for his square, first he's going to come and oppose Saturn. So that's boom. Oppositions are boom. Mars is in Leo, the sign of the lion. Lions are dangerous, right? One of the Tibetan horrible ways to die is to be eaten by a lion. So Mars is coming to whack the Saturn first, and then he's going to move forward and he's going to square the Uranus. So he hits one and then he hits the other. Saturday is the square to Uranus, and Thursday is the opposition to Saturn. So we're going to feel the bump. Now, of course, when Mars comes into Saturn, it's a little bit like driving with the brakes on. When you've got your parking brake on, and your car's dying to do it, you're trying to go forward, but you're blocked. And then he goes past it and he's like, great. And then he careens into a square to Uranus and he goes, whoa, So with this energy, in the same way that like you let go of something and then you go flying off and then you run into something in a hard way. So it's a very volatile energy. It's not an easy energy. It's Mars and Leo, so it's a little dramatic. It's like getting jumped by a lion, and you might be the lion, someone else might be the lion. I'm good either way. But the idea is that there's this passion out there with Mars and Leo. Now, the other part of it, of course, is the sun's in Cancer. And we've noticed the last month and a half as Mars was in Cancer and Venus was in Cancer, that every time the moon changes, the emotions change. So the moon, when this square gets set off, is going to be in Aries, which is a very fighting moon, a lot of passion, a lot of determination, a lot of me first, which means that the sun is going to be me first because it's in Cancer answering to the Aries moon. So we've got a lot of fiery passion in the sky around what I want. And one of the things I always joke about, like if you have an Aries moon or a Capricorn moon, the Aries moon is me first, I want to get this. The Capricorn moon always has to wait. So this is very much a me first energy. Because it's happening in the end of the week, right before Labor Day, this is also a really big day for people quitting their jobs or saying, I'm done, I'm gone, I'm finished. There's a lot of departure energy or a lot of, I'm done with this, I have to go now. So it doesn't mean you have to leave, but there's certain times when I look at the charts and I go, a lot of people are going to be quitting their jobs this week. They're just going to be like, I don't want to be doing this anymore. Or a lot of people are going to be going, you know what, this is an immovable force, I'm done, I want to break free of your control of me, and I want to be free. And so, okay, be free. Remember, because the planet Mars and Venus are both in Leo, so they're talking about what they're passionate about. Now, a lot of times you do not have to blow up your life to get the freedom you want, right? And one of the stories I tell the people when they're having a big Uranus transit, I say, okay, so you want to run away and join the circus, but you really can't do it yet. But you have to make an adjustment to run away and join the circus, right? Because you need to adjust whatever you're feeling is pulling at you, and you have to go, I don't want to play in there. How do I take different action to do it? And that's the space you want to go to. Like, how can I act in my own behalf rather than what everybody else wants? And I don't have to do it bad. I just have to do it. I have to say what I want, what's important for me. And that's a real challenge this week to do it in a kind way. And so it may be a little more combative, so your job is to go, okay, this is a desire to break free of the existing structures. How can I facilitate that change? And what do I need it to be to help it be a little supportive? But because these are planets, Mars is action, Saturn is inaction, and there's like an immovable force, and they're not friends. When Mars comes to square Uranus on Saturday, Uranus goes, okay, I know you need to change this to be able to have what you want. And Mars is like, yes. And you're like, okay, calm down. Do you need to really kill it off, or do you just need to change? And so that's where the problem can come in is, no, I have to kill it off. And it's like, really, remember, a lot of the energy that we've been working with has been you being reflected back to you by other people, because Mercury's been in Gemini. He's been bringing up old stuff. for people to think about. He's been bringing up old stories. People are finding out stories. You know, I'm up to 7 now. People finding siblings or finding relatives this eclipse. You know, sisters they didn't know they had, babies that were given up for adoption, connecting with long lost relatives, and then it fills in part of the family story, and then or stories are being revealed. You're like, oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, that's something. So if it brought up some shame or some bad part, you know, it's the key is to let the shame come up, let it leave, and then allow it to heal. You know, you have to kind of let it heal. And if we do that, then it works much, much better than feeling that we have to be dramatically out of control. But we will be needing to be careful of people that aren't as informed as we are, because the world's going to be a little rocking and rolling, you know, the next few days. And when that happens, you know, sometimes there's an element of despair, but there also is an element of this is something that needs to be moved or changed. So if we can look at it that way, rather than being despairing of it, it helps us, right? So, I mean, the horrible that the building collapsed, but now they're going to go look at all the buildings that were built that maybe have some construction problems, right? And literally, at least the reports I've been reading, the foundation gave out. You know, the structure underneath, that's Saturn. Saturn shifted and the building came down. So our job is to find where we're shifting and make sure our building does not come down, Uranus and Taurus, so that we can stabilize it before the collapse, right? And, you know, this is a mutable time, so it invites us to shift and change. And, you know, and that's the key. You know, obviously, if you hear cracking in the building, you know, and you tell your kid, don't stay in the building the next night. You know, it's very literal on some level, but it also is very internal for all of us too. We're shifting our structures. When you find out something and your structure shifts, it's incredibly important. I had a good friend whose husband found out some really horrible information, and you know, from his perspective, it totally affected his thinking about everything, and he felt like all the decisions he made were not true. Including being married to her, because the structure of his life that he thought was real wasn't, and he found out, right? And so they went through a crisis in their relationship, and her posture on it was, go take the time you need to take to figure this out, because your structure has changed. Don't blow up all the decisions you've made because you made them on the foundation of this structure, right? And that was a solid structure where you made them. Just because it's shifted doesn't mean everything you made was wrong. But there is a little bit of a tendency with this to let that kind of thing happen. And if you think back when something happened that you were really shocked, changed, stunned by, you know, I had a client who resolved never to lie to her kids, so she never did. And I said, well, it happened when you were 10 and a half. What happened? And she goes, that's when I found out the man that raised me wasn't my father. And I said, okay. And you resolved never to lie to your kids because you've been lied to about a big thing. She's like, yeah. I said, now you have a kid that doesn't know how to spot a liar. And so he's hanging out with a liar. You can see the guy's a liar, but the kid doesn't. And you have, you know, because he never got trained in that, he has to work it out, right? But you made this decision when you were 10 never to lie, and you never have, but that has consequences. So sometimes it's something like that where we've made a decision and the universe is saying, do you want to reconsider it? And then other times it's that was so shocking, now my whole worldview has completely changed, and now I have to find out what the worldview is. What my new worldview is now that foundation has been shaken to the core. So first Mars comes and hits the foundation, and then Uranus comes and collapses it. So we are having that action in the sky this week. And, you know, obviously we always feel things as they're rolling. So it's a big week.
So Anne, is there going to be, with the Mars thing happening first, the Mars opposition happening first, is there going to be a feeling like it's broken open, but then we're hit with another wave of it, or we're hit with a different kind of obstacle?
Both.
Both. Okay.
And the way you find it is you look at where natally in your chart, and you look at where Saturn is natally in your chart.
Wait, you cut out for a sec when you said the first thing. You look where
Uranus is natally in your chart, and you look at where Saturn is natally in your chart, right? Because those are the areas of your life that are changing. So in my life, my 6th house is my assistant, my 8th house is my practice and service to clients, and my assistant has a really, really big opportunity right on the horizon, which we can't really talk about yet, but we know it's coming. And and it's been talked about a little bit, so people that have listened to me for a while may know, but hopefully goes, and that's going to restructure my daily practice and how I serve the clients, because if she goes off and does this for a while, and I pay vacation, so she didn't take any vacation last year, she got vacation this year, so she's going to use her vacation. But in the meantime, like, she's gone, right, from my point of view. So I look at this and go, oh, this is great. And then I'm going, okay, so it should be resolved by the time we get to December, when the next square happens. So for me, natal Uranus is in my 6th, which is the house of my employees and my daily routines. And Saturn is in my 8th, which is my commitment to my clients, but it's also, in her case, she's a playwright, and it's her play getting produced, fingers crossed, and her starring in it, fingers crossed. So from her perspective, 6, 7, 8, her work is going to be seen in the wider world. So that would be great if her play goes off Broadway like it's supposed to, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But from my perspective, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good for you.
Oh shoot, you just froze. Is she frozen for everybody or just me? I think she may be frozen for all. I can't tell. Maybe it's me. Can someone please put it in the chat? Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure you were frozen. We were hearing about Rose's opportunity, and then you said, what about me? And then you froze.
And then it went frozen, because I'm going to be losing my scale. like I'm going to have to do all the he does, right? So, yeah, and I've got my progress moon going into Virgo for 30 months as of August 12th. So I've been looking at that going, I'm going to be working a lot. And but I also recognize that that's my next 30 months, 30. So.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. So, yeah. And so, I mean, I think, it looks good in her chart, looks good in my chart, but it represents a big change.
Yeah.
That we have to accommodate.
Yeah. You said we may have the urge. Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. We may have the urge to blow things up, like blow it up in order to get what we want or go where we want, but that we might not necessarily need to blow it up, but we need to look at what needs to be modified or changed in order for it to serve. I mean, if someone's decided, like, you know what, this just doesn't work for me, is it time to sort of blow it up? Or are you advising that you sort of take more of a measured approach and take your time and make sure that you're set up for whatever's next before you blow it up? What are you saying when it comes to that?
So some people are not going to be able to wait a second longer. Yeah, they're just done. But recognizing it is explosive energy, if you're done and you're, Leo is slamming the door, roar, yell, all that kind of stuff. And it's moon in Aries, sun in Aries. So something can really set you off and you just lose it. And if you do, you've just been warned, you have the opportunity to lose it this weekend. But there also is an opportunity to make a more considered choice, because the change is coming. Right? And you get to decide how you want to work with it, if you want to work with it, what you want it to do, right? So the idea of knowing astrology ahead of time gives you the ability to make conscious choices rather than having a reaction to stuff just because it's happening. Like it's coming at you and you can decide how you want to use it. But this is a pretty volatile weekend. So with that in mind, watch for volatility in your own life. It's coming at you from your fixed signs, coming at you from your Aries, from your Leo house. That's where the action wants to take place. And then it is aspecting your Saturn in Aquarius, which is where you're structurally being asked to change. So in my case, Saturn's in my first house. And then it's coming from Uranus, which is my third house ruler, right? Is in my transiting Uranus is in my third house. So how am I going to communicate to people? Rose handles my emails. And I'm always like I have a Mercury Mars square, so I'm always a little bit swamped with emails. I'm like, oh my God. And so she does them, so she goes away. Yeah, so. But that's all right. It's a good thing.
Is there an opportunity for a temporary helper for you?
Oh,
because
yeah.
we got lots of people in this audience. I'm sure there's a few that would be like, I'll do it.
Yeah. And then that's kind of what I'm looking at. So I'm, it isn't firm yet. So I'm kind of, sounding out some people and, but that's the energy of, knowing I know this change is coming in a pretty dramatic way to my life. So it's like, all right, and that's okay. That's what it's about. And Rose she'll be with me 11 and a half years in August. So I know that's a Jupiter return, right? Yeah. So that's it's a big shift for everybody and a good shift. She's a playwright. So this will allow her play to be sold to high schools and colleges. It's about Jane Austen, her book Persuasion. So, and she's done a lot of readings and stuff at different Jane Austen festivals, but it's a really big deal, so it's really good, great for her. And then I'm going, great for you, but woohoo, what about me? But that's okay. That's what change does. We have these changes that say, we don't really know, but we do know it's changing. So your job, and in her case, it's her being recognized as the brilliant writer she is, because it's getting produced off Broadway. So
that's amazing.
Big deal.
Congratulations, Rose. That is a big deal.
So
okay, Rena. Yeah, definitely. And there's lots of people volunteering to help you, Anne. So I don't think that you'll be left high and dry.
And that's
11 and a half years is hard to replace it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she knows how I think, and she just kind of does stuff. Yeah. Exactly. So there's all the parts of my brain that she has.
Yeah.
Which are over there, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's good, but it also represents big changes, for her, for me, for the world, and our world, not the world, but But and that's the energy. So it's like approaching it and being joyful, but at the same, it's a little melancholy, but it's also really cool. But it also, I know, back when I was young, my boss, when someone quit and I was kind of freaked out, my boss was like, no, this is a great opportunity to rethink things and look at things in a new way and figure out how you want to do them. So that's all part of it too, so, and that's the energy. It's about us rethinking. And, some people were like, oh, you keep saying vision. I'm like, well, you may not have a vision. You just may know what you don't want to do anymore. So it's also being comfortable to leave that behind and to say, let me step forward into something that's more of interest to me, So.
Anne, I'm reminded of where we started the year, and that you said this is the year that we are learning to fly. And it just seems like there's all these things. So part of what you just said, it might be what you're clear on what you don't want. You're not totally clear on what you want, but in entering into that new, unknown space, that's where faith or trust or, those kinds of words, hope, that you're gonna figure it out and you're gonna learn to fly, and that the desire is there for a reason. And so that's, trusting that if you move in that direction, you'll have the information and the experience and the people coming into your life that you need to support that vision. There's a question from Rena. Rena says, do you use natal placements or where transits are? Like when we're looking at where Saturn and Uranus are in our chart, are we looking at natal or transiting?
You look at both. So to do predictions, you always look at what natal placements you have, because that's the lessons the planets are going to teach you in that house. And obviously, if you've relocated, look at your relocated chart too. But start with your natal. So natally, I have Jupiter in Uranus in my 6th house. So I always am blessed with wonderful employees, whether it was people I work with, coworkers, people I always have wonderful time at work because I have Jupiter, Uranus, and Cancer. So my staff's always been great. When I was a project lead, when I was programming, I've always had great employees. So my natal Uranus is in my 6th house of employees. My natal Saturn is in Scorpio in the 8th house of money and how I value other people, and also how my clients are 7th house and my clients get their needs met. So that's great. So that's natal. Then we look at where the transits are. So I'm having Saturn in the 1st, saying I have to meet their needs, transiting Saturn, and then Uranus in the 3rd, transiting Uranus in the 3rd through communicating better. So when Amanda said, you want to do this pocket thing, or actually when Jamie said it, and Amanda said, yeah, let's do the pocket. I'm like, all right, I'm supposed to be communicating Uranus better to people, telling them things. So I'm supposed to do it, Saturn in the 1st. I'm supposed to be more responsible, telling them things so they know how to figure out what's going on in their life. I'm going to be astrology in their pocket and help them. So that's the positive version of it. And then now this is another side of it with my assistant changing. But now I'm kind of working with Jamie and Amanda more, because I used to just show up once a week and do this, but now I'm actually working with them. So you see how it works? So it's both. So right. You look at natal position, and then you look at where the transits are to say, what are the transits asking you to do? Saturn in my 1st is asking me, saying to me, you have to do it by yourself. And I do. I do the podcast dictations. I do my little dictation. I look for a good ad, and I do my little daily pockets, and I mail them to Jamie, and she posts them, and she sends them all out to you. I'm working more, right? So I've got a new quote-unquote employee. I don't pay her. Amanda does. But I got a new 6th house person sending you guys stuff. See how, but then I also have now Rose going, hey, might be going. And she was supposed to go last year, but we had COVID. So,
well,
plus, you look at both.
Yeah, plus you're going to be having even more things to do because we're going to be starting the workshops with Anne here very soon. The first workshop is going to be on July 14th.
Right.
We'll do the heavy lifting for that. Yeah. Yeah. We'll be doing most of the heavy lifting for you for that. I mean, you can show up and teach, so that's good. But yeah, so oh shoot, you're muted, Anne. I'm sorry. We're trying to eliminate some of the feedback that's happening, so we're like muting back and forth. But go ahead. What would you just say?
Well, I said you guys are going to do the tech work. I'm not into Rose. Rose normally does that work for me here, so you guys are going to be doing it.
Right.
So all things in good time, right? So
yes. Okay. So Gail is asking which. She says, which workshop? We're going to start with the chart signature workshop. So figuring out your chart signature. And then once you have that calculated, what does that actually mean? And especially in context of where we're at, but in general in life as well. So it should be really exciting. So Anne, what else do we have? So this is obviously the big major theme of the week. Anything else, any other aspects that you want to point out?
Yeah, we have Mercury moving forward, of course, coming in. He's going to square Neptune again, but next week on as he gets there. So he's not doing anything this week. Venus is a little testy this week. Mercury's fighting with her. Venus is fighting, she's just kind of being a little bit of a diva. She's in Leo, and she's kind of like, I want it like this. So, when she's young, she's only, 5 years old, 6 years old. So, when you find your inner diva kicks up, Venus went into Leo on the 27th, and she gets to 10 degrees this week. So she does have a little bit of a squabble with Jupiter about his expectations for her. She doesn't want to do them. And again, she doesn't want to work. She wants to play. So you want to definitely propitiate Venus this week by giving her fun stuff. I was talking to somebody earlier today who went out shopping. She said, I went and spent all this money. I'm like, oh yeah, I know you did. So, because she's like, I got this and I got that and I went shopping, and I'm like, yeah, right. So Venus went into Leo and Emily went shopping. It's all good. We spent a lot of time on the Mars. Mars also makes really important connections for you on the 28th and the 29th. So it's important to see who comes in. His once every 2-year aspect to the nodes. You may pull in some new people on the 28th and the 29th, maybe even the 27th, that are important people for you to hang out with. Saturn also is unhappy with the plan.
And you just froze again. You just froze for a moment. So you said the 28th and 29th, important connections. We're going to be pulling in new people, and then you froze shortly after that.
Mars on the nodes, and then I said we spent a lot of time on the Mars aspect this week, so that everybody's working on. And then Saturn is crabby around the plan. He's got a semi-square to Athena, and Athena said, "Well, this is the plan," and Saturn like, "I don't really like that plan." So this is plans that have been made. Saturn can be like, I don't want to do that, or be digging in and not doing it, because remember, he's getting picked on by Mars this week too. So he may be recalcitrant to do things he already said he was going to do. So what you want to do with him is go hang out with Mars, because Mars wants to do it, and maybe you're not going to do it with that person, but you're going to do it with this person, because Saturn's not in the mood to cooperate. He's feeling, and again,
I'm not getting that. So basically, Saturn's crabby around the plan. So whatever plan you have, you might be like and you're like, I'm going to have to be doing all this on my own, and that's a lot of work, and so that crabby around that. But then you said, go hang out with Mars. What do you mean by that?
Well, because when Saturn's crabby, and he's got to fight with Mars, Mars is saying, well, and you have to do this too. And Saturn's like, no. And Athena in Pisces does it really matter who does it as long as it gets done, right? That's the energy, because Athena's in Pisces and a semi-square to Saturn. So I'm on vacation, having a low-tech vacation, trying to stay as much off computers and internet as possible. And I'm a treasurer of a board, OBA, the Organization for Professional Astrologers. So the president wrote me a note. I paid these people, including myself. And, I'd gotten the bill like 2 days before, and she paid herself. So less than 3 days from, getting the bill. And I pay the bills at the end of the month, which is a couple more days. So I wrote back, I said, okay, thanks for doing my work. I bow to the Aries, because she's an Aries. And I'm not going to get mad. She did my work. She wanted to write herself a check. Go right ahead. It's allowing. I was going too slow, or I wasn't. I mean, I had planned on doing it like today, tomorrow, but she wanted it on the weekend, so she paid herself. So I'm not going to take offense at that. I'm just going to go, okay. Didn't like my plan. Did her plan. Bow to the Mars. Honor the Mars. The Mars wants this. So when Saturn goes, no. Mars goes, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to do it myself. So don't be upset if someone does it themselves. Thank them for doing it. Less work from others.
Got it. Okay.
And they may not do it the way you want. Yeah. But that's okay too.
Is there something in the astrology for your desire to have a low tech week? Because I was having that as well. I was already planning to just have as little time on technology this week as possible, which that's kind of a new thought for me, actually.
You're both Aquarius risings, Amanda. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but so is that something happening astrologically that would make us feel like let's just sort of unplug a little bit?
Neptune is opposite Vesta on the 2nd, which is I want to just dream. Pluto is semi-square Juno. I don't want to partner with people if I don't have to. Saturn is semi-square Athena. I want to be by myself. And Jupiter is contra-parallel Ceres. I don't want to take care of anybody I don't have to take care of. You got rid of your kids for the week, right?
I didn't get rid of them, but they are in Tennessee, yes, for 2 weeks.
You're not responsible for care or feeding, right?
I'm not. No.
I know. It's great. I got rid of my cat. I got rid of my cat for the week. You got rid of your kids. I mean, they're not gone. Somebody's in charge of them, but there's a freedom that the Aquarius risings are really feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Interesting. Okay, so anything else, or are we ready for the summary?
I think that's the big stuff. The moon in Aries, the Taurus moon's really nice once we get through the crabby business, of the Mars square and the Mars opposition. So the Taurus moon goes, oh, okay, that's good. I made a good decision, right? So it gets to a good outcome.
You mean beginning of next week?
Yeah. Well, the Taurus moon starts on the 3rd on the weekend. It starts at 8:30 on the weekend. And it's it's Independence Day, and Monday is all Taurus moon. With a lovely closing aspect to Pluto. So, very creative in here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but you're saying that, so the whole week is going to be the build up to the weekend, which is going to be sort of the crescendo of energy. But then we have this Taurus moon that will be offsetting it a little bit, or that we'll be feeling more the Taurus moon after the crescendo of whatever's building up all week. Shoot, I'm sorry, Anne. When I talk, did we lose her? You guys, I'm sorry. The tech is definitely funky. Anne, when I finish,
we want low tech.
We're getting low tech. Oh my gosh, Anne. So yes, when I'm done speaking, just pause a sec, because then Jamie will unmute you and then you can respond. But she's muting because when we're both unmuted, there's a weird echo. So go ahead, whatever you were going to say. Yeah.
I don't remember. Do you remember? Oh, well, so the Mars hits, it hits on the first, and then the second and third. So Mars is coming in, but he's hitting on the Aries moon. Now remember, with Mars, we often feel it before it gets there, right? So it's exact on those days. And then after that, we get to the Taurus, which is relaxing. So if we think of Mars as Aries, meat, mattress, and malt, we have the sex, the passion, the fight, the da-da-da, and then we go to Taurus and we go, oh, do you want breakfast? How about we order in a bagel, or something like that? Because we go into Taurus, which is good food, good wine, good fun. So it gives a positive energy, right? After the Sturm und Drang of the end of the week. Does that make sense?
So Anne, yes, it does. So in terms of theme, how would you encapsulate this energy for the week? What's the theme?
Dreamy, hot sex, lots of fights, get it done, go, 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 relax, chocolate.
The dreamy part, I nothing about what we've said so far said dreamy to me, but I guess I'm missing something.
Are you in your high tech week off? Are you listening to music?
Well, yeah, of course.
Are you living in a different place?
Well, yes.
Anybody recognize that background for Amanda? She's living somewhere else. Look at that. Look at those flowers back there. Right. So yeah. So you're having dreamy, dancey, romantic. You having romantic times, Amanda?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. That's the Pisces. That's the Pisces moon, right? And then we get into the Aries, and then we get into the Taurus. So it's dreamy, 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 da-da, and then dream or cuddle.
Cuddle. Okay.
It's good.
Whew. Okay, so basically,
because people are going to feel that Mars coming in at different places, right? Sorry, Jamie, I know we're driving you crazy. We're trying to talk like we normally do, but we're having a low tech week. So yeah.
It's so funny that I said low tech week, and literally I think we have a podcast episode every day this week. So I don't know how low tech it's going to be. It was more like tuning into the news and all the things that are happening. It's just like I'm just going to check out a little bit on that. Okay, so this is what we have for the week. Again, more secrets revealed. That seems to be the theme. One of the main themes of the year is this revelation of information and things that were hidden coming to light. So we have that. This is the 3rd chapter of the Mercury retrograde story that we've been in. So this is the final exclamation point on whatever your Mercury retrograde journey has been about. We have this Mars opposing Saturn and squaring Uranus, which is the big highlight of the week. So the directive from Anne is to look at where our foundations are not stable. And so look at the areas of your life where your foundations aren't necessarily stable. And then how do you want to modify these foundations going forward? We know this is coming, like we can anticipate this. So we can actually, because of the astrology and because of you, Anne, we can actually anticipate these things and start proactively looking at them instead of letting it all blow up in our face and then looking at it. But essentially, this Mars is setting off the square, the Saturn-Uranus square. That's the theme of the year. So we have financial things, death, transformation, psychological, because of the Scorpio moon. Wait, what is it? Sorry, you're muted. Oh, this is so hard. The Scorpio.
Open light. Remember, a T square looks like this.
Yeah.
So the energy shoots into the open light. The open light is Scorpio. So it's going to shoot into the Scorpio house. Yeah.
It's going to shoot into the Scorpio house. Okay. So do we also look at where Scorpio? Do we also look at where Scorpio is in our chart to know where this is going to be hitting us?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in my case, the president paying her own bills. I mean, I'm supposed to pay them. I don't care if she paid them. It's shot into the Scorpio house. She wanted her money. I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. I'm not going to argue with her. I just, I trust her. I know her. She's an Aries, but she was like, I wanted my money. I'm like, I hear you. I mean, it's just been 2 days. Right? You want your money? You can have your money. I'm not going to argue. Shot into the Scorpio, money owed to other people. Right? Yeah. In that case, it could be other places.
Yeah. All right. So we have a dramatic energy because of Mars and Leo. So you or someone else is the lion. There's going to be, a lot of passion, a lot of energy here. Sun in Cancer and Moon in Aries. This is this kind of me first, thinking, what do I need? What do I want? And what you're saying is that if you're feeling that real impulse of like me, to pause and see if there's a way that you can accomplish that again without blowing everything up. Yeah?
Right.
Okay. But you also said that some things may need to be blown up, which is sometimes necessary, that you may just be done. This is a time quitting jobs, departure energy, this desire to break free. And you don't, what I wrote down exactly is you don't have to blow up life to be free. You don't have to blow up your life in order to be free. So again, it's this revisiting the way things have been. And yes, there's things that probably need to change there, but that you don't have to blow everything up in order to have this sense of freedom that you're craving or looking for. It can be combative. So if that is showing up in your life, this combative energy, then you can be asking things like, how can I help to facilitate the change? What are the things that I can do proactively? Something about shame. So you said letting the shame come up.
Right. Saturn's big, one of his lower form work, not a lower form work, but one of the things Saturn does is he's shame. And he's shame, he's shoulds, he's got an oppressed, depressed, repressed energy to him. So that can come up because it's being stimulated. Where, you should have been or you should have done that. Shame on you for not doing that. But we've had this Uranus squaring Saturn asking you to look at the shame or the Saturn issues in your life and change them. If your parents lied to you and as a result you never told a lie and it's causing a problem with your kid, and not really your fault, but it is the results of your actions. So your job is to go, okay, let me not give myself a really hard time. Let me understand that that's part of how people operate, what people want to do. So they've done it this way and they replaced it with this person and then they replaced it with that person and they never really did it themselves and now they're maybe going to have to do it themselves on some level. And that's okay too. You don't have to step in and solve it for them. But if they feel bad about something, you also don't have to agree with it. You also can ask them to look at it and understand where the origin was of the shame or the Saturn issue that is trying to change. And so with Mars and Leo and Venus and Leo next week, they're trying to get you to see the story in a different way, to shed light on it, because remember, they're in Leo. So they want to shed light on it and show it to you in a way that allows you to change yourself and change the structures of your environment, right? So like in my case, I can look and go, whine, woe is me, or I can look and go, all right, well, back what my old boss said, yeah, things change, and I'm going to have to think about how I'm organized and how I'm doing things, and that's part of the job right now for me, because Saturn's in my first house, and I have to take responsibility. So you want to look at where transiting Saturn is in your chart to say, where do you have to take responsibility or not? You're not going to solve the problem. You're going to let them figure it out, right? And if they figure it out wrong, you're going to be okay with it. It's not your job anymore, because sometimes that's the boundary setting. It's not my job to fix this. The consequences of actions and choices made, we then have an opportunity now to change those or to act in a different way. Mars and Leo, that's more in alignment with what we want rather than with what the other person might want from us. Because we're not necessarily going to go along with their plan anymore. We're going to do our thing. That makes sense?
Yes, and not.
But sometimes we feel we did something wrong, and it's like, no, you didn't. You did what you were told, and that's okay. When I got that email, I'm like, I'm having a low tech week. I'm on vacation. I'm not going to feel guilty. I didn't pay the bill in a day. She wants to pay it. That's good. I'll just make sure I don't do it twice. Right. So it's looking where you might normally go, but I'm also like, but I pay the bills at the end of the month. It's like 2 days. But then it was like, she wanted the money. She's going on vacation. Okay. Well, is it something I want to fight about? No, I want to honor her Aries. So I said, I honor your Aries. I said, 2 days, question mark? Okay. I honor your Aries. And she wrote back, my Aries, and she listed all her planets in Aries. I'm like, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So
and I never stand in the way of an Aries. I always kind of look at them, and go, okay, you're an Aries. I get it. I'm a Virgo. I'm supposed to serve you somehow. And I clearly failed, and you were serving yourself. Great, go for it. So
okay.
That's where astrology is very helpful.
Oh, definitely helpful. Yes. No blame or shame. It's just like, this is who you are. You're wired that way. So
don't take it personally. Whatever it is, don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally. Exactly. So this feeling of despair that you brought up earlier, something that might need to move or change, instead of a lot of what you just said gave us ways to reframe those times where you feel despair, like, oh, I messed up, or I should have done it different, or I feel bad about that. It's like, well, you know what? Something needs to move or change, and that's what's happening. So find where we're shifting and make sure our building doesn't come down. Look at Uranus and Saturn natally to see what areas of life this is going to be affecting you. Make considered choice, consider with the stars, and consideration. Consider, that word consider means with the stars. So use your chart to be making choices that will help you with the outcome of all these things happening. You said this is a volatile weekend. That Venus is testy. If you see your inner diva kicking up, doesn't want to work, wants to play, to give yourself that playful outlet, but also recognize if you're kind of showing up as a 5-year-old whiny diva. And just maybe see that's, I could lip read a little bit what you said, or a 5-year-old what?
A 5-year-old happy diva too. You want to honor your 5-year-old. She wants to play this week. She does not want to do tech. Right? No.
Play dress up. Mm-hmm. That sounds fun.
Dress up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So on the 28th and 29th, watch for who is coming into your life. This can be some important connections. You're pulling in new people. This is because of Mars's aspect to the moon's nodes. Is that correct?
Nodes of fate. Yep, nodes of fate.
Okay.
Once every 2 years, new people.
Once every 2 years. What's happening, you're saying, is a once every 2 year occurrence?
Yep. Yeah, Mars is aspecting the nodes. He does it once every 2 years. In this manner, in this form.
All right. So the 28th and
positive new creative people. So we're announcing
today
we're going
and
to be
tomorrow.
doing I know, and we just announced we're going to be doing the webinars, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Positive
so that's
new creative people.
Yes, people were asking what's the date for that again. It's July 14th is the first workshop. Yeah, and it's going to be like a 90-minute to a 2-hour workshop on chart signature, calculating it, interpreting it. What does it mean? So we'll have some little worksheets and things for you to make that fun and easy. All right. Then we have Saturn being crabby around the plan. Does it matter who does it as long as it gets done? And if somebody does it for you, don't be upset. Just know that it's getting done. And that's pretty much the week. I mean, those are the main things that I'm taking away from it. And as far as an intensity scale goes, where would you have put it?
I think it depends on how you feel about the Mars. You know, a lot of people are really digging in on having to do the changes. Some people are feeling like I'm totally ready for the change. So if you dig in, it'll be hard. This is a let go kind of week where like, all right, I got to let go of that control. If you're digging in, it'll be much more difficult than if you let go and release into it. It's a fixed square. You know, fixed squares it just like bumps against something really solid. So the more you can relax into it, the better it works. Because fixed has got, it's got a little bit of an immovable force energy to it. Mm. And Mars is charging it. The lion is charging the wildebeest, so to speak. So.
Would you say natally, if you have Mars and Leo natally, or if you have some of these, like if you have certain placements, would you say it's going to be harder or easier? Can you do that?
Yeah, that always happens. Yeah, if you have a Mars Saturn aspect, it'll be hard. If you have a Saturn Uranus aspect, you're having a big year of change. I mean, everybody's having a year of change, but the Saturn Uranus aspect people are having a really big year. It's called natal excitation. So we always look to see what's your condition. If you have a Mars Uranus aspect in your chart, it's big. So the Mars Uranus are the people that kind of blow things up as they go along, or feel like things get blown up on them. And the Mars Saturn people always feel like everything they ask for, they don't get, or they always have to work harder than everybody else. So for those folks, this will be a little bit of a harder week. For the rest of us, we get to know what they go through all the time, what they live with. Yeah. But it also, for the Saturn Uranus folks, and people have this aspect.
Oh man, low tech week, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to summon that anymore. Yeah, you froze.
I froze. Where did you lose me?
I just told him I'm not
down here. Before I start working down here, I got to get stabilized.
Yes, for sure. Okay, well, so it's a big week, everybody. Sending you huge astrology hugs. The few things that are coming up again. Yeah. July 14th is the workshop. We don't have the page up yet for it, so don't worry. You'll get alerted and you'll know how to sign up. We also have an empowering astrology workshop coming up with Frank Clifford. So that is going to be like reframing the zodiac signs. So any of the, you've heard certain stereotypes about different, Scorpio's this, or Taurus is this, or Aquarius is this, and we kind of get put into boxes. This whole workshop is going to be how to think about it differently and reframe a lot of those things that are often looked at as negative or not, not positive. So that's coming up at the end of the month as well. So all these different pages and places to sign up for things are coming. But in the meantime, you can check out Astrology in Your Pocket if you haven't done that yet. astrologyhub.com/pocket if you're in the US or Canada. in astrologyhub.com/pocket email if you're international, and or if you would like to receive them via email, if that's your preference. So those are available for you right now. And thank you so much. Thank you for being with us on your low tech week. And I mean, we did it. I think we got the main points out, even though it was a little clunkier than usual. We did it. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying your time down there and that you can just relax a little bit.
I'm having a great time. I'm a little sad to be going home on Wednesday, but I got a whole bunch of stuff to do when I get there. So. But it was really nice it was a weekend that was supposed to be a conference, and the conference got canceled. So I'm like, oh, well, I think I'm just going to keep it blocked out of my calendar and go to Florida for the week. So I have had a really lovely time.
Perfect. And when will you be back in Florida?
In the fall sometime, yeah. It'll be, we enter into hurricane season. I may pop down for a weekend, but earliest will be in the fall, and then it'll be for 6 months, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Okay.
It'll be my winter nest.
Oh, beautiful. Amazing. Okay. Thank you everybody so much for being here. Thank you for all of your amazing energy and feedback in the chat. If you like this show, please rate it, review, subscribe. And I'm really speaking to the podcast, people who listen on the podcast right now. All of you, I'm seeing all of your comments on the social media platforms. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We're so happy you're a part of our community and so grateful as always that you are making astrology a part of your life. We will catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.